You might think it's a bad thing to have a big puddle of coolant under your car, and normally that's true, but in this case, the Cavalier was kind enough to wait until I got home from New Jersey before it started leaking all over the place. So, thank you, Cavalier. I want you to look deep in there and see that hose clamp, and now we'll pull back and see the rest of the setup for the upper radiator hose. This hose has been bulged out for a long time, and it's really easy to get to here, not so much down there, but I'll see what I can do. I think the first thing I need to do is remove this big plastic trim panel in the front, and that's not too hard, so I'll get started with that. This panel is held in place with these little plastic clips, and I have this panel removing tool, which should make quick work of that. So what you do is you slide the tool under the center pin and pull that pin out, and then the whole thing comes out. Pretty easy. Maybe this one's not so easy. Now I can lift off this panel, and be careful, this thing's very heavy. Unfortunately, that didn't give me much access because the hose clamp is underneath there. So I'm gonna have to take off this headlight bracket. And all I need for that is a Craftsman ratchet in the 13mm size. To my surprise, this thing comes out pretty easily. And I'll just hang it off to the side there for the time being. Maybe I'll put new bulbs in there while I got it out. So after all that trickery, I finally got to the hose clamp, and look, it's a perfect shot. I can get right to it with, I think, a 7 or 8mm socket, maybe. Now, if you're wondering why I don't just use a screwdriver for this, here's why. They just slip out of place. They suck. So instead, I cobbled together this 1/4" driver and a bunch of extensions and a socket. We'll see how that works. And what do you know? It works great. It's almost like I've done this before. And now I'm going to tackle this spring clip right here. And do you think that I can get at this with one hand in one try? Of course not. But maybe 2 tries. No. 3 tries? I give up. Removing this clamp really is a two-handed operation, so I put the camera on a tripod and the clamp came right off. Look what I have next. A Mac Tools number SP29A pick tool. What am I gonna do with that? Well, here's what. I'm gonna use it to ease the old hose off of the pipe. That should do the trick. And now with the magical bond of crust and corrosion broken, I can just pull this hose right off. And I think I lost some antifreeze there. We'll fill that later. Now over here on the radiator side, I'm using the pick again, but I'm being a little bit more gentle because the radiator is made out of plastic. And now finally, I'm easing the hose off, and I think I lost a lot more coolant that time around. Oops. So here's the new radiator hose. It's a Gates 22342, but double check on your car because this might not be the right hose for you. And notice that I've already put the hose clamp on it loosely, so that'll make it easier to install later. Now I'm gonna take my time and gently slide the hose onto the outlet on the radiator, making sure not to screw anything up. And there it is. Now I'm going to tighten the hose clamp, making sure it's just about flush with the top of the rubber hose. Not too tight, definitely not loose. And I want to make sure that the hose clamp is somewhere between the end of the hose and the end of the outlet, because the tip of the outlet is ridged and you don't want to clamp on that ridge. I thought I was just about done, but then the hose clamp I was using failed. You see right here? Started to slip, so I'm gonna have to use a different and better hose clamp. This hose clamp is working a lot better, and that proves the old saying, not all hose clamps are created equal. Up top it's a little bit easier because I can just slide this hose on. And now I'm struggling with the factory spring clamp because it doesn't really want to fit over the hose. So I'm gonna have to try and figure that out. Maybe if I go from the hose side first, then it'll work. No. But if I bend up this little tab on the clamp, that might give me a little bit more clearance when I squeeze the clamp. And sure enough, that worked. What a pain. So the hose is installed, and now all you have to do is fill the system with coolant, bleed the system, put all your other parts back on, and you're done. I'll leave it up to you to figure out how to do that stuff. And until next time, thanks for watching.